Yo, what's up guys? Teacher Paul here, and today we are talking about Kalki 2898 AD. I have just finished watching. Some of you were watching with me, and we're going to talk about the movie. We're going to review it now, and some of you were asking also, what is my favorite scene and what is my rating for this movie. First of all, in the first section of this review, we're going to talk about the movie with no spoilers. And then we're going to go into the spoilers, and then you guys can help me remember some of the scenes and talk about that, okay? So this is fresh out of watching it for the first time, and let's talk about the storytelling. The first part, I thought the storytelling was a little bit slow, and I thought there could be better use of the time that they had there. Like they introduced a character called Roxy, which there wasn't really much character building with her. She disappeared, like I don't know why she was inserted there, just a romantic lead. But then she, which is this character over here, she did not, for me, she was not really important to the plot, except that she got him into the complex for the very first time, which was an opportunity to have a song in there, but it really didn't go anywhere, that storyline. Not yet, at least. Maybe, there would be another introduction, and I don't know, but it felt like it was just for the trailer, or just, I don't know. It felt like there was no point to that storyline, that plot. It started, and then it just ended there, and didn't develop as well. It also had a few world building, but it also didn't really explain too much of what happened. I think most of the explanation was made in the beginning, the intro scene, where we saw the graphs and how the world came to be like this, and we saw there was like this very nice animation in the beginning which showed the world history, but it took a lot of runtime from the beginning, and sometimes it felt like it wasn't really going too much into the development of the world. But it's not a bad thing. It was entertaining enough, and it didn't get boring, okay? What I'm saying is that they could have made better use of that time, the runtime, to explain the world a little bit better, to character build a little bit better. So the storytelling, it kind of, it felt like a filler at some points, because I was asking myself, why was this introduced, and why did it take so long for this to develop? And also they included a few characters that may have no real weight in the story. And yeah, let's talk about the VFX. I thought it was very interesting, very well made, very well developed. I think they built a very nice world around the CGI world. I think it was convincing enough. There were just a few parts that you could see that they could have done a little bit more work, like for example the lasers or the weapons. The weapons looked a little bit fake, like you can see over here. Kind of, some of the weapons were very nice metal, but some of them looked like plastic, like this one over here. But at the end of the day, it worked. It wasn't off-putting. It was very good in terms of the VFX, in terms of the weaponry, the technology that they used. I think it was very interesting, and the visual effects were mind-blowing at times, and the amount of action was superb. So I really enjoyed that as well. What else? In terms of the music, I thought the music was very well designed for the action sequences. The amount of action sequences were very good as well, and I think it was a very fitting soundtrack It was sometimes exciting, it was sometimes emotional, it was sometimes sentimental. So I think they had a very good balance in that sense. Okay, so I want to jump into the spoiler version of the review. So the first part, you know, um, of this review was non-spoiler. If you don't want spoilers, then, you know, don't watch this second part of the review. So, spoiler alert. I'm going to give you spoilers now. Okay, so the I think the biggest part of this movie was also the cameos. Most people are talking about the cameos. Many people are talking about the people who were involved. And bro, I didn't expect to see some of the people that were in this. And my biggest surprise, the best cameo was SS Rajamouli. I was like not expecting him to appear, and it was just a shock to see him there. But also we had bro, not everyone watched the movie. I know some people who haven't watched it yet, but Rajamouli, fantastic. We also saw DQ also in that movie. We saw a few other big names as well. Ones that I can't, I don't know the name, but the meme, the legendary meme. Kamal Hassan was kind of like a cameo, but a main character at the same time. He didn't show too much of himself. I think it was more for the second part that it was reserved more for the second part. His story and his character development will be a lot more for the second part. And one thing that I noticed is that this movie, I thought it was going to be more action, more violent than it was. It was very action driven, but it also had a lot of comedy. So I thought this would be a little bit more like Salar, where the character was a hardcore or soldier warrior, but no, Prabhas in this movie was very different from Salar. In Salar, he was very serious and you know, he was a very violent character. In this one, he's a very funny character. He's a very comedic character, and I like that also because it's very different. But I did find it a little bit too PG-13. I could have used a little bit more of violence in this movie. I know that doesn't sound great, but I think it will be very family. It's a very family friendly movie. There are some parts that I don't like how they used the BGM, because they used these kind of like funny BGMs, like comedy BGMs, and it's something that I find a little bit off-putting, especially when they're talking about something serious. For example, one scene was when this character Kyra and her boyfriend or husband, I can't remember if they were married or not, but they were talking about marriage, and they were talking about something that is serious. They were talking about old traditions, and they were talking about God as well. And at the background, there was this comedy background music. Also in the Bhairava entry scene, there was this comedy music in the background, which kind of you see in the... thank you for sharing that. Yeah, thank you for sharing all of the cameos. But I thought the comedy background music could have gone without it, because it kind of like took away from the scene itself in some points. But that's something personal for me. Like I never like it when there are these goofy, childish kind of sound effects in a movie. Some people like it though. That's why they use it. What else should I talk about here? I found the fight sequences very well choreographed as well. I think this is very groundbreaking visual effects, and I don't think I've seen that in any other movie. The fight between these two fight a lot. These two are fantastic, but it feels like the movie is mostly about them two fighting. But then when you go to the war scene, I think the second part of the movie was very action driven, and it started having a faster pace. So I really liked it for the second part. The second half was absolutely fantastic for me. I think the pacing was good, and spoiler alert, you already know, um, they are actually, they're gods. Both of them are gods, right? We discover that Bhairava is, what is his name? Ravna? Can't remember exactly. Karna, sorry, Karna. Karna is he is actually Karna. And when we discover that, he becomes a super powered person. Because until that point, he was very technology driven. He was like kind of like the Indian Iron Man, right? But then when he took the staff, Karna, he absolutely became unbeatable. And I like the way that they were telling the story of the past, and they mixed a lot of different things, different elements from it was a futuristic movie, but it also had traditional values, and it talked about the connection between these two. So he discovers that he is Karna, and that actually is a segue to the second half, which there's a mid-credit scene where we see Kamal Hassan is also a god. Now, I don't know if he was a god before the serum or he became a god after the serum, but the fact that he is floating, yeah, I think he is a god, and he had a curse on him. So the serum from the womb is kind of like the cure for his curse. So it's very, this movie is very heavy on the character building. It leaves a lot of different answers or questions unanswered that we will see in the second film. Obviously, we need to see the baby being born. We need to understand if Karna remembers who he is, or if he is an incarnation, or if he is an avatar. We need to know, where they went, where they are now. We need to know a lot of different things. We need to know all the implications that has in the story. We need to know more about Roxy, where is she now, what happened, a lot of different things. We need to know like what is going to happen to the complex without the commander. Obviously they're going to have different people going there, but there's a lot of different things, because once you find out that there is a savior, then everything's going to change, especially like in the complex. People are going to ask questions. So I think the second movie will probably be a little bit more political, and they're going to talk about people dividing themselves. I think that's my prediction, because that's what normally happens. Some people become believers after they see things like this happen. So I think they're going to divide the complex, and I think that's going to play into the story as well. Bhairava doesn't know, but the question is, does he have amnesia, or is he an avatar? You're missing Roxy. Yeah, like, what happened to her, right? Kamal Hassan is not a god. He got that ability after getting one drop of the serum. Maybe not, right? So he became a god with the serum. So can any human take the serum and become a god as well? Bhairava got possessed after touching that arrow. He didn't know what happened to him. Okay, but the thing is, if anybody had touched that, would he have been possessed as well? I don't know. So these are the questions that are unanswered. All in all, I think I would give this movie I think I would give this movie a 9.5, because it doesn't miss anything. But I wanted it to be a little bit more, less PG-13, a little bit more adult themed, a little bit more, I don't know, like, it feels like it's a family movie, but I wanted something a little bit more aggressive, I would say. Because even when people died, they didn't die. You know, they always died off camera, like in an explosion, or But it's because I'm used to watching like KGF and Salad and Animal and all of these aggressive movies. But I felt like this one was PG-13 and just a family movie. So I think everybody from the whole family was, you know, 9.5 is high. Yeah, it's because I'm thinking more of the second half. And I think the first half, if you're watching like for the first time, then yeah, I think it is quite high. I know 9.5, but yeah, but I think it's more because of the evolution here, the potential. That's why I'm giving it that high, because I've never seen anything like this in any other movie. The war sequences, the visual effects, you know. Okay, maybe I'm giving 9.5 based on the potential, just like Brahmastra. I see the potential. But if I'm looking at it as a whole, like to watch 2 or 3 times, then I would take a point away and put it at 8.5. If you're involving the everything that I said that I might have not enjoyed as much, like the PG-13, the comedy BGMs, and I think if those elements are removed, then yeah. So I think they could use that. For me, it was more of a 7.8. I don't know, guys. I think you are underrating it, because a 7 is too low. An 8 is okay if you are considering, but guys, like, okay, maybe, okay, if you consider Brahmastra, it's just that this is a very unique movie. It had everything in terms of war and the production value. I would give it a 7 after watching it 6 times. Okay. So the more you watch it, the less you give. Oh man, I don't know, but I think this was a little bit better than Brahmastra, because they didn't go into the melancholy. How do you say that? That romantic story and stuff like that. It wasn't like that. But bro, look at the amount of visual effects, the amount of action sequences, the amount of fight sequences. If you're giving it less than an 8, I don't think you are considering the amount of sequences they had. I think the fact that they had so much story building in for the first half and then so much action sequences in the second half, I think it was not well distributed. Maybe that's it. Maybe they could have distributed the storytelling and the action sequences a little bit better. But it's in my head, I can fix the issues here after watching it. I can rewatch the movie and balance out the storytelling and the action sequences. And I think that's why I would put it at a 9.5, because I balance both of them out. But I understand why you guys would give it an 8. Don't compare this masterpiece with that Brahmastra. Brahmastra was pretty good, bro. As I said, I can balance things out. One action sequence can compensate for not a bad storytelling. You know what I'm saying? So I think the storytelling in the first half, it balances out with the amount of pure action in the second half. I'm making you guys increase it, but okay. Why? Let me know in the comments why you guys wouldn't give this more than an 8. Between Brahmastra and Kalki, yeah, Kalki is much better. I think Brahmastra is very beautiful. The action sequences are beautiful. The effects are beautiful, but this is another level. This is like the amount of production, the amount of fight sequences, the choreography, you know. And bro, they even gave us a little treat when we saw Amitabh fighting against himself. You see, they also had Prabhas multiplied. So I don't think you guys are taking into consideration the amount of complexity of the visual effects, you know. And I'm gonna have to time you out for spamming, sorry. But I don't know. I think you guys should look at it as a whole, right? If you look at it as a whole, you will see that it's it balances itself out. If you get past the first part, the second part will be a lot better. Okay, but as a whole, you guys are making me reconsider. Maybe I'll give it a 9. A 9, 8.9. Maybe put it in the 8s. Just because you guys are making me rethink. But also, as I said, I have just watched the movie, and I'm a little bit excited. I just saw the climax scenes, and that's the last thing I remember also. But the cameos as well, bro, it was a very entertaining film, so I believe it does deserve to be in the 9s. And guys, remember, the story and the storytelling is two different things, okay? These are two different things. Story is different from storytelling, okay? I'm gonna end the review here now because I feel like I'm reading from the chat now rather than giving my review. I guess in the future I would like to make reviews edited and scripted, so that I can remember and look at the scenes and evaluate and give my opinion in a better and more concise manner and a more entertaining manner. But I guess this is my review for Kalki 2898 AD. And I'm going to continue talking to the chat here live, but I hope you guys enjoyed the review, okay? So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, take care.